Chapter 28 Connor's Last Stand. Somehow, I don't feel so safe, Sonia said. Me neither, Zack said, echoing her sentiment. Suddenly, another shot rang out, and the crowd, that had been cautiously preparing to leave, dropped to their seats, and some even to their knees and faces in the grass. Everyone looked around to see who the next unfortunate soul was, but no one in the crowd seemed to be hurt. Finally, people began to notice a commotion on the stage, and someone cried out, "It's the president! The president has been shot!" General Alvarado had rushed to the president's side, attempting to help him while simultaneously scanning the crowd and speaking in his earpiece to the Patriot Guard. "Where did it come from?" he demanded. "Take them down." "It was a drone, sir," came the response. "I can confirm, sir," came another voice. "It was Drone 17. Alvarado looked up and realized the drones had quietly rotated to a position that targeted the stage rather than the crowd of congressmen. "How the hell did that happen?" he asked. "Sir, this is Air Command. I did not give the order, sir. At some point, while they were hovering, we lost our comlink. Something or someone has taken over operational commands. They are not responding to our flight controls." Alvarado stood up on the stage and scanned the crowd for likely suspects, someone who might be holding a transmitter of some kind, or a hint of who could have hacked into the NADF Air Command. As he scanned back and forth, another shot rang out, and Alvarado felt a jolt throw him backward, tripping over President Connor's body and causing him to land flat on his back. He felt a sting in his chest and looked down to see a red spot growing on his white shirt in the narrow gap between the folded collars of his thick uniform jacket. He felt 2 hard thumps of his heart, and then everything went black. Here are some insights. This is the climactic scene. And what had happened just before, if you haven't read the chapter, is that President Connor had just announced to corporate Congress and the Senate that had just come back to Washington. He had them all assembled, outside where he could have NADF drones surrounding everything and be in control. He had just announced that, hey, you're all back, but I'm sorry, I'm still in control, and now I'm going to use atoms to control the entire country. I have seized control of all financial transactions. Everything comes through me. Even in the regions, you get no money unless it comes through me. And so he basically tried to seize control of the entire country. Because he lost control politically, he tried to seize financial control of the entire country. And just as he's explaining this and explaining how that he is going to work on a new constitution, which of course, he's going to have the primary say in. A shot rings out and he's assassinated. And as General Alvarado is trying to figure out where the shot came from, he is also assassinated, and it becomes clear that the drones that were circling, that were supposed to be security, for some reason somehow got hacked and turned on President Connor and General Alvarado and assassinated them. Who do you think that could be? I mean, the Sparrows are not violent, so that's not likely. So who do you think decided to take control and assassinate the president and the defense chief? And also, when they're suddenly gone, there's a power vacuum. Even though Congress and Senate are back, there's still a power vacuum. There's nobody, the executive branch has been taken out. And, something that you'll know from context is that there's not a vice president at this point because, that's one of those things that was not hammered out without a constitution. So there's this big power vacuum, and, they can rely on precedent. But, again, without a constitution, there's not a clear succession set up. So now we've got to deal with the power vacuum. So what's going to happen? What in the heck happened? Now we just lost our 2 antagonists here, and we don't know who took them out, and we don't know what's going to happen next. Well, it won't take very long to find out. So hang on for chapter 29. Let's see if we can figure out how President Connor and General Alvarado were taken out, who took them out, and how we're going to fill this power vacuum and what the Sparrows can do about any of it.